Good morning, everybody. Good morning, and happy Monday. I hope everyone had a great weekend. And staying warm if you're in the colder climates here, like I am here in Wisconsin. We got a lot of snow. I did not do a broadcast on Friday. We ended up getting a lot of snow that it started Thursday. Thursday morning, it went in all day. It snowed all day for the most part, and into like early Friday morning. I think we ended up getting like 11 or so inches. I'm gonna pop a cough drop in my mouth, so you're gonna hear some rustling. Sorry, I should have done that before, but my cough and everything has been doing a lot better. But when I talk a lot, my throat gets dry, and this helps keep that coat over it so it doesn't dry out. Let's do my hair clinking. Sorry. It'll be under my tongue, so I'm gonna have like an accent, so I apologize. But yeah, we got quite a bit of snow. Hubby stayed home. I told him that if we got, because they only forecasted 5 inches, and that was supposed to be through the early part of the day. But then it just kept snowing. It just kept snowing. Um, and when it surpassed 5 inches, people were like, "Okay, I said that we were only supposed to get 5 inches, and it surpassed 7 inches, and then 9 inches, and it just people were like, okay." um, so yeah, so hubby stayed home on Friday. I did not do my live stream. Um, and I just spent time with him. And like I said, anytime that I have the opportunity to spend a whole day with him, I'm gonna do it. Um, there should be another tick here somewhere, but let's see. I have my collection in here because we have the holiday scorch. We're not able to actually go after them because they are broken. So I just do this way. And then they're giving us some wrapping paper in the Atomic Shop, which is nice and all, but I'd rather have the holiday scorch. They should have like let this scorch spawn without presents, so that way we get the legendaries uh, as well as the presents. But no, that didn't happen. So I feel like we got juked. There's a couple things with this camp. This is the camp that I use to do my Westsec runs. It's got all the buffs that's necessary. You got your beds for the well rested. And then these things right here give you XP bonus. This right here gives you a bonus. And these right here just extras like bonus to charisma, strength, luck, endurance. Things that you might have the need for, depending on your build. And then, of course, I've got all of my cryo stuff. I don't have room in my freezer, I don't think, for much of anything. Um, I have brain fungus soup that I could put in there. But you have to do like one at a time. And it's like um, really annoying. I think they weigh, yeah, a half a pound each. So I'll go ahead and go up to 80. Um, I should have put these in sooner, but it's okay. They're frozen. So they'll last in there a while. Yeah, so this right here is the new weather machine from the board. I have it up over here. It looks kind of cool. And it gives you the weather that's in a nuke zone. And so you get the whistling of the air, the lightning and stuff. So I thought that was cool. I put this up so I could show my hubby. Um, I just hear the mutants going to town on the mountain. They cannot get to my camp. They could shoot to their heart's content. Um, they know I'm here, but they cannot see. See them down there? They just shoot at the rock. Oh, look at this. Uh, they'll keep their attention. That looks like a cool quantum right there on the thing. Let's go over there and see. It is a nuka quantum. Go ahead and heal back and let's go ahead and jump back over there. I don't want any. There's usually, I think there's like a perfectly preserved pie up here somewhere. I don't really harvest them, but there used to be, when Fallout started, like when they first came out, people go crazy over the perfectly preserved pie. I'm not entirely sure why. At that time, they were considered rare because it was extremely hard to get them out of the whatever that's called, the food thing machine. I was gonna say symptomatic because I just went by the symptomatic, and I know that's not true. So yeah, I'm on Fallout because I have to get dailies done. I did not do my dailies yesterday, so I was like, okay, I'll do a stream and do Fallout. Um, so let's see what we have. Build table, stairs, bed. I could do that quickly. Drink purified water. Got that. I don't know why my nerd rage was. There's no damage. There's no ticks or anything. So I do have to go down there and fix some stuff. It looks like. Looks like that tick had some fun with my camp. There we go. Jeez Louise. I don't know what happened to these. I did not remove these. So, yeah, I'm not too sure why these are removed. It's saying that they're not here. I did not remove them. I removed these. These ones right here. That was it. So, I'm like really confused. All we have to go is in here and put this back up. Defense. I'm not sure what hedges I have. I think I've got the brown ones down. I'm not sure. Can't tell with this lighting. Definitely not those. Maybe it is. I don't know. Can't tell. There we go. It's got a gap there. Weird. I'm so confused. It wasn't that big of a gap, but look how I did not line these up that great. Oh well, that's fine. I just have that there for my garden. I think it looks pretty nice. Pretty nice. I didn't even realize I had all these, like the gaps I don't really pay attention to because I needed it to be enough, like far enough away, because it would not like latch onto there. So, and I don't like things perfect with some of the builds, especially if I'm going with a Fallouty vibe. I did want to hide the stairs a little bit better. I did not realize they were sticking out this much, but that's okay. That's fine. I'm not going to rebuild this camp. This camp here is for my XP farming only. Like, even here, I did not even care about those being perfect. I thought it looked rather nice. I was thinking about putting a door right there, but you can't really build out here because of the circle. And plus, if you get closer to the edge, then the mutants can destroy. So I kept it for a pretty good distance from the edge to keep them from destroying my camp. We gotta put some stuff in. Don't really pay attention to my my stuff. I should collect it, so I put it down. No, I don't. Alright, let's go ahead. Put that in there. Alright, so let's go ahead and get to my dailies. Let's go ahead and build some beds. There we go. Drink water. We can open these up real quick. Oh, plastiform candy cane red. I think I've already got one of those. So there's nothing in there. Junk here. And then stash boxes right here. Yeah, I just put the stuff in there because it's really not necessary for me to learn them. I'm not taking a chance regardless. I was reading, I'm in a couple of different Fallout groups. I've got one that's specifically for women. It's called Women of the Wasteland. And there's also another one called the Wasteland, I think it's the Wasteland Winches. I'm not really all that active in either group, but the Woman of the Wasteland I'm more so active in than the other one. Got power lines going everywhere. But someone was posting in there that they learned a couple of the new plans, and when they went to build them, in their build menu, it indicated that they did not know the plans. So, cripple a Deathclaw's head. I am going to do that because it's 900 score, and I've got to go to that location anyway to collect a Deathclaw egg. So it's like win-win. Let's go ahead and do that first. We could do 2 and 1. Let's actually go to, yeah, let's do that, because either way, oh shoot, there's already somebody there. The chances of a Deathclaw egg being on here are few, because on and the waste dump, the abandoned waste dump, we have 2 Deathclaws in there, and there's like 3 or 4 Deathclaw nests inside, and then 2 Deathclaw nests outside. So your chances of getting an egg in those nests are like substantially higher than going to Deathclaw Island, where there used to be 2 active Deathclaw nests there. Like in the early days of Fallout, there used to have 2 Deathclaws on that island, and then during one of the updates, I'm not sure when, they removed one of the Deathclaws and only put 1. So, not too sure. There's like plenty of places you can go to get a Deathclaw if you need one for the dailies, but for like the Deathclaw eggs, those are the 2 places. The abandoned waste dump is like the best. There is another place, but I can't really remember where it's at. I haven't been there in a while. We are gonna see if there's toilet paper. Apparently, I'm not the only one who didn't do my dailies yesterday, because there's usually toilet paper in everywhere. In here, someone just like came through and took all of it, like, which is greedy as heck. That's so, like, I will do that. Like, I'll loot, but if it is a daily or weekly that's on the list, I won't like loot as much. I'll leave it for the next person. But that is today's society. One for all? No. One for one, that's it. Everyone only cares about themselves. So, we might have to go to a private and do that. That's like the best place I know to get toilet paper. There's another location, but I completely forgot where. We don't have to do this as a daily very often. So, let's go to Deathclaw. Actually, let's go ahead. I'm here. I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna hop out of here, go to a private, finish my dailies. Let's see. I was checking the time. I think we still have mutated events for the rest of the day until 11 o'clock tomorrow. So let me go ahead and work on these. I could kill Scorched and complete a daily quest at least. Let's see. The best place to kill Scorch and do a daily quest. I don't know if there's 10 there, but it's going to be here at Camden Park. I could do 2 for 1. I could do these with the chat line. Activate that as a daily quest. Go here. There should be at least 10 Scorch here if someone didn't go through and kill them all already. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and I gotta change my... I was using the Tesla to vampires because of the mutated events. And the last one I did was yesterday, and it was reflective. So I used to have a explosive handmade, but I put that on someone else's account. And then I had a Jaggernauts. I gave that one to my mom plays Fallout, and she started a new character. So, you know, I'm just actually gonna get everything. Why not? So, she started to a new character because of the... We had some issues with my sister. Her ex, her now ex, was very abusive. Not physically because he didn't live in the same state as she did, but it was verbal, emotional, and mental. So we were having some problems. He was being very, like, we were talking to her, trying to help the situation, to get her like out of his grips because he was he was a narcissist. He'd gaslight her constantly, and it was just really hard to get her from his grasp. I don't know how that happened, honestly. Like regular bullets can go through this, but apparently this couldn't. It's a giant fireball, so it might be. Maybe it's got like lead or something. It's a big ball, and it's just I have no idea how this works. It is just fire, but apparently it couldn't get through the fence. But if I use my handmade, it would go through. Strange. But anyway, so we were like really pick that up, trying to get her from under his grasp because he was doing a toll on her. She was starting to not take care of herself, and she was getting really how I'm trying to think of the word. She was getting distant from everybody, which is not healthy. So she was isolating herself, and she was saying bad things about herself, and getting to the point where, she wasn't really taking care of herself, and it really did do a number on her. She's got issues with her teeth now, and it was a mess. So we were like doing an intervention, and he did not like that. He was messaging all of us, and at first he was being really derogatory and um, like really abusive towards us. And then she finally, it finally clicked. She went outside. She told me one day she was outside, and he had sent her a really bad message, really hateful, and telling her how, like, he would say things like he'd send pictures of other women and make notes saying, "Oh, I wish you looked like this," or, and my sister is beautiful. She is just absolutely stunning. So I don't know what this guy, and I don't talk crap about everybody. You know, God doesn't say that, but this guy was supposed to be in her age bracket, and he looked like he was twice, if not three times, her age. She looks like she is in her 20s. She's in her early 20s, but she doesn't look in her early 20s. She looks younger than that. She still looks like a teenager. Like, she looks younger than 18. So she's just like all of the, it seems like the women in my family, we don't really age all that much. Like, we always look young. And anyway, so she would tell me that she would get messages from him, and he would make her feel less than because, and I know the reason why is she's out of his league, and he was scared. He was like, okay, how does someone like this get to with me? And then he was just like really trying to knock her down so that way that she doesn't see that she deserves so much more. And not just look wise, but like the way that she was being treated, she deserves so much more. She deserves to be treated like a princess. And that she is, because she's beautiful inside and out, you know. She was always such a really, like, her and I were really close because of our age difference. She was always like babysat by me, and I was 15 when she was born. So I was like her second mama. And when my mom would go to work after she had Jess, she had her term away from, but then when she went back to work, it was all in me. It was supposed to be me and my older brother, but my older brother really didn't do much. So, and I would like put her hair up, her hair up in a little bow, and I'd dress her up like a doll because she was just an adorable baby. Oh my gosh. And we were there to help her walk, and I was there to help for her riding her bike. Like, I was there for all of her firsts, and so we grew up really close. Even though we had a big age difference, we were still very close. And then I would say, when I moved here in 2019, at first it was fine. You know, we would talk regularly. But then again, things started to like wind down. I wouldn't hear from her, and then all of a sudden she stopped talking to me altogether. I would message, nothing. I would message, nothing. And I could see it was being read. And then I called my parents one night, and they didn't want to get in on it, and I was like really I didn't understand, like, when it comes to how I'm treated versus everybody else, there's a very significant difference. And I love my parents, and they did the best that they could. But there is a significant like difference in how I was treated versus everybody else. So when I was like showing, like, you know, hey, I don't understand what's going on, they were like, oh, I'm not getting in the middle of it. But if it was me, you know, it would be like, oh, I don't know why you're acting this way. So it was like really like I didn't understand. I didn't understand. I didn't understand whatsoever on why there was such a big difference in the way that we were being treated, and the way that things are being handled. Because if I had done that, if I had decided, because I stopped talking to my older brother because he was being very disrespectful to me, and to my now hubby, and I didn't want to stand for it, you know. My hubby had not said anything to him. He had not said anything derogatory. He hadn't said anything at all indicating that, sorry, I wanted to get that done. But yet my brother was acting like really hostile towards him. So, yeah, I did. I stopped really talking to him because of that, because I didn't appreciate how he was treating us. But when it came to me, I was in the wrong. But when it came to anybody else, it didn't matter. It didn't matter at all. And I was like, okay, I don't understand this. So anyway, so she stopped talking to me. Where is the... Up there. Oh. Ah. Where is it? It's got one there. That's got one there. Oh, it's this one over here. Okay. He's got it. Alright. So wait for the doors to blow. So, yeah, I'll get back to my story. Sorry. I got distracted. So anyway, so 2019 we were talking. 2020, we were still talking, but not as much. I started going through, my cancer, and at this point, my sister completely stopped talking to me, and I didn't understand why. I had called, one day, and this was, I want to say in 2021, 2022, 2021, or 2022, one of those, and, I was like, okay, I need to understand why, I don't understand why I'm being exiled. And they're like, we're not getting in the middle of it, we don't know. And then all of a sudden, I was eventually told of the reason why, and it was because of her now ex. So she was starting to treat everybody really poorly because she was acting out. And she was hurting, of course, but she was really telling a lot of people what was going on. And then eventually she started to disclose, hey, he's doing all this, and we were trying to tell her that, we, meaning them, she wouldn't talk to me at all. I went 3 years without talking to her. She wouldn't answer anything. And within those 3 years, she just was not taking care of herself. He was being really abusive. That's where she was like saying that he would send pictures of other women and say, I wish you looked like this, I wish you act like this, and making her feel less than, which was absolutely ridiculous. And then fast forward to this year. This year I finally got a message from her, and she was like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do what I did. I was wrong. I shouldn't have listened to him. So she kind of told me everything that was going on, and it was just this bad ordeal. And at that point, we were, since I was back into it, I was like going with her because I have been through abuse as well, and I was trying to help her with things that helped me get through, everything. Oh, he's like in his shell. So she was like really open about what he would do, and during this period he got really really bold, thinking that he could just message all of us. He was messaging me, he was messaging my parents, he was just messaging everybody he could to be like, hey, you need to back off. And it was just ridiculous. He's really not friendly in any of his messages. And then all of a sudden, She's like completely over him. She said that she had sat outside and she read one of his messages and then she just cried. And then in her mind pops in saying, I deserve so much better. I deserve better than this. And then she said that the moment that that thought came to her mind, something came over her and she was just done. Nothing he could say could hurt her anymore. She was done. And I was just like, I do believe that that was, God saying that you're going to be okay. You don't have to worry about anything. So it was great. And then all of a sudden, we start getting messages from him saying how he was so sorry. And I gave him an ultimatum. I'm like, do not contact me again. If I get another message from you, I'm going to have lawyers contact you. Because of everything that he said. I screenshot every message that he sent me that was abusive and the language that he would put and the things that he would call me, the things that he would say. I was not playing around. I was like, I'm not playing with you. I do not deal with people like you at all. I don't. And I said that I'm not going to let you I'm not going to have you have that other opportunity to mess with my sister again because you hurt her. So, I gave him that cease and desist. He contacted me one other time. And then that was it. He tried to bribe me. I just blocked and deleted, was over any of his excuses. So, let's see if I could get to this and put the stuff in. Let me get a drink of coffee here. The cough drop is honey, so it pairs really well with my coffee, actually. It's a quite nice combination. It kind of tastes like mint and honey. Let's see. Oh, so it's quite an ordeal on her part. We talk now. She's completely out of his grasp. She is healing herself. I told her to just, don't hop back into another relationship. Just wait. I'm all for giving people chances. But if you're with someone for 7 years and they hurt you continuously over and over again, no, especially when it comes to abuse, if they're not willing to say, okay, I'm the problem, I need to help and get help. If they're not willing to help themselves, then you need to cut your ties with them. They're not going to change. And they're going to have you as a lesson. And that's not, I told her it's not on you. That's on them. You did all you could. You tried. You stuck around for 7 years. And for those 7 years, still was not getting anything. So, don't. You have to think of yourself. And you're letting him destroy who you are. So, yeah, I told her not to worry about it. All right, so we're going to go into a private. I'm going to go to the location that I was in. Actually, let's go to the abandoned waste dump here. See if we can get a Deathclaw. All right, here we go. I am all for people helping each other, especially if you love somebody, but they have to be willing to make those changes. You can't change people. So it's like, no, if you're going to lose yourself trying to help this person, don't, don't, because they have to have that ability to change themselves. You cannot change them. That it's just them. A prime example is me and my hubby. I didn't give up on him, and she didn't. She didn't give up on hers, on her fiance at her ex. She kept trying, but it was just the duration of time. Like, if you're gonna give someone that time, and if they're not willing to change, like if you see that they're putting effort to change, that's a different story. That is a different story. But if they're continuously being abusive, if they're continuously like hurting you and they're not changing their behaviors and not putting effort into changing those behaviors, then that's not on you to do. You're not responsible for changing them, you know? I'm just getting the brain fungus here because I can make more soup. I got a cripple ahead. So. Here we go. It says detected. Get my flamer out. I gotta get an egg. Let's hope I can get an egg. So, like I said, it's not your responsibility to change anybody. They have to be able to do that. I can understand standing by someone. I did that. I was with my hubby. We have been together for almost 6 years now. And our first year, the first 3 years, I would say, were the bad years. But the first year, the first 12 months that I was with him, were probably the worst. Because of everything I had been through, and it really did a number on me. And then it was like the 2 years after weren't great, but you could see the improvements. He would backslide a little bit, but he was trying. And then eventually it was just like he completely put like full force effort, was done playing around. He was done being the person that he was turning into. So that's the reason I stayed with him. I didn't give up on him because he didn't give up on himself. If someone is going to prove to you that they, oh my, that they really do love you and they want you in their life and that they're putting that effort in. This goes based on what I was talking about last week early, when I was talking about like not giving up on someone and loving somebody, when even if you're in a relationship that's abusive. A Deathclaw egg. That's not gonna count, I don't think. Yeah, it doesn't count. I was hoping there'd be one in the nest, so let's check the other nest. I might have to re-roll this one. I really don't want to spend all day looking for a Deathclaw egg. I don't have all day. These are from yesterday, so my daily has to get done. So yeah, let's go ahead. I'll just re-roll it because the chances of me getting a Deathclaw egg are so scarce. Don't know why I did that. So that was like the reason why I was saying, you know, you can't always just like give up on people immediately if they do something that you don't like. That's just so funny. Consume an alcoholic beverage while on a team? That is the weirdest thing ever. Let's go back to my camp. So the biggest part of that, what I say about not giving up on someone, is because you can tell. First things first is always pray about it. I did not always. I did at the beginning because I was still in my faith at the time. I didn't fall away until like a little bit later in the relationship. And I don't know if I really fell away. I think I was just like I felt so damaged that I just felt like I was being punished. I was just in my head that I had done something wrong, that I was abandoned. So that's kind of what led me there, but that's not the discussion here. So the best thing to do is definitely don't be. I didn't really go to people. I did two instances go to my parents because I was just so unsure of what was going on. Like, this is my first relationship. I hadn't been with anybody else. He was my first everything. I was learning to, like, I knew how to love people because I have been empathic my entire life. I had been willing to help people, willing to be friends with people, because I just liked being someone's smile, and I knew what it felt like to be hurt. I knew what it felt like to be, just tossed away by friends. I knew how it felt to be bullied. I knew how it felt to feel like you had nobody. And I didn't want any other kid to feel that way. So, honestly, there'd be times that there's somebody that was being like, picked on or something. I would be their friend because I knew what it felt like. And I remember, I was in, I think I want to say the sixth or seventh. No, maybe it was before that. Maybe it was, yeah, I think it was in the sixth grade. Um, I was doing really bad. I think it was, no, it was either sixth or seventh. I was doing really bad that year. I was struggling. And I wasn't doing my schoolwork. I didn't want to be at school because of how bad it was. And I remember walking in um, my second year there because I had to redo the year. It was just I didn't want to be there at school. I didn't do my schoolwork. I missed a lot of school, so I ended up being held back. And uh, the second year there was a girl there, and nobody would sit next to her, and I never understood why. She was what I am the same, what they call a nerd. And she was so nice, and she had so many ambitions. She was really ambitious, and she wanted to be a scientist. And I have no doubt in my mind that today she is probably a leading scientist somewhere. She's probably an astrophysicist, if all I know. She was just so smart. But nobody would sit next to her. Nobody would talk to her, just because of that. And I was just like, that shouldn't be, that really shouldn't be a key factor in why you don't like somebody. Just because they have different attributes that you do. It was because people felt threatened by her intelligence. And she was really cute. She just, like, she would be the entire package, you know? And that's how I would have been. Like, I honestly never thought myself as pretty or cute or beautiful, or smart. I was always talked down to, so I always believed that I was stupid. I always believed that I was ugly. And I can't help but feel that people made her feel the same way. So we became close friends. We became friends for that year, and after that was the last year at that school. So, of course, we parted ways. But she was, I think I want to say that I moved that year because I don't remember finishing the school year with that school. So I don't quite remember. I just know that I just have always been that way. And I always felt people, instead of just seeing and hearing, I could feel. And if anyone ever came to me, I would want to help as much as I could. I didn't have a lot, but I would want to help. I remember this guy coming to our front door when I was a kid and knocking and saying that he was hungry and needed food, and I just ran to the kitchen, grabbed some canned food. My parents caught me, shut the door in his face, and wouldn't let me give him food. And I was just like, that's not fair. What if he really was hungry? It doesn't matter what you think. If he really is, why can't we spare a couple of cans of food? And it really I didn't understand at the time. To me, I didn't see people. I felt, and I didn't feel threatened by him. I felt the need, and my parents didn't understand that. And it's the same thing with wanting to give to charities and stuff. It's just like it's not anything I see. It's just something I feel. Like I feel that need to be there for people. That's what we are called to do. It's even in the Bible. Jesus tells us that he's not always going to be here, but he is going to be, and God says it's the same thing. When he says that when you encounter a stranger, it doesn't matter. It could be it's a human, but it's God. God's in all of us. So if we have another human who's coming to us in need and we're turning them away, um, that's just it's so harsh, and I don't agree with it. I don't. I think that we should be there for each other. And what one person may see may not be what that person is going through. Because you can't just go based on visuals and what you hear. You have to go based on what you're feeling. And I'm not talking about your feelings. I'm talking about your intuition. You're able to pick up on energies, and you're able to tell, when someone's in need, and you have to stop going based on what the world wants you to think. You have to think what God would want you to think. And He wants us to love each other. He wants us to take care of each other. He wants us to lend a helping hand. We're not going to be able to give, the every cent that we have, but we can give what we can, and money is money. Money comes back. But that person, it could be life or death. You could be that little string of hope that they have, that encounter that makes them say, life is worth living, and this person just showed me that. That is just the most humane thing ever. Is just to be there for people, and I really want to do that. That's something I dream about all the time. I dream about opening up like homeless shelters, and I want to do like a grocery store type of thing where people can come in, not like a food pantry or anything. Like anybody could come in, and it would be not based off of prices. It would be based on donations. Like give what you can, take what you need, give what you can. And then that will keep us going, and it would be based on volunteers, and we would pay people if we could. If there is something that someone was like homeless and they're looking for a job, and we'd be able to hey, we know we have a shelter, we could give you room and board, and if you would like to work here, that would be their ability, and we could help them. They would be able to give back to the community, and we're helping them, and they might get on their feet. They could be someone who's got like a bachelor's degree who fell on hard times, because people are mean. There's people out there who are so cruel, and they will devour people without an instant. And we don't know their life circumstances. It could be a veteran who lost their family because they don't know how to cope with the devil that's in their head. They don't know where to go, and people don't understand that the thoughts in our heads, most of those thoughts are not our own. And I'm not talking about, you can see that you're schizophrenic, you can see that people are crazy. I really, frankly, do not care what people think when it comes to, that person's crazy or that's ridiculous, because our world is full of light and dark. And the darkness, they will devour you. And they start inside. They don't appear outside. They don't appear as those figments that people say, the hallucinogens that people say that they see. They don't appear at that first. They appear as voices in your head first. And then after the voices start, then they really start to dig their claws into you. Then comes the hallucinations that people see, which is just them forming themselves in that person's mind. So I don't think that people that have these quote-unquote mental illnesses are ill in any way. They're just extremely vulnerable, and some of them are extremely gifted. God gives us gifts. People think that, all psychics are bad. No, it depends on how you use your ability that God's given you. We're all very special. The human race is extremely special to God. And you honestly think that He's going to forsake us? Do you honestly think He's going to put us here without any ability to protect ourselves? No, He gives us that ability. He gives us the ability to protect ourselves. Some people just don't know how to handle their gifts, and the darkness doesn't want them to use those gifts. So these people are usually put under a lot of scrutiny. They're put through the ringer, and they're hurt, and it's just really sad to see that people, instead of healing them, it's just like, we're gonna medicate you and lock you up because you're just not worth our time. That's exactly what they That's what they say when they do that to people. Instead of helping people, they just medicate and forget. So that's easy for them to do. And another thing that we have to keep in mind is that society today, they have us so corralled that we honestly think that when they medicate us that they're helping us, but it's just not. It's not helping us. Medications that we consume, especially when it comes to cancer, to these illnesses such as diabetes, Alzheimer's, dementia. They want us to think that there's no cure, but think about it. Where do they get their money from? Like, if you look and see what the biggest founders are, you're gonna see big pharma, hospitals, doctors. The hospitals and such. They make more money off of sick people than they do off of healthy people. So they're not going to want to share any cures. They're not going to want to share any treatments that are going to actually get the person healthy. They're just going to keep you healthy enough to where you're not dead, but still sick. So you're going to need their medication. You're still going to need. And it's so sickening that humans could do that to other humans. It's just so sickening. So that's just my 2 cents on the bout. But getting back on topic, that was a big segue. I apologize. Getting back on topic is that when I was talking about in my last stream, I want to say Monday of last week, I was talking about how that not to give up on people immediately, because especially if you love them, and they're able to determine, to show that they're capable of changing, like they want to change for themselves, because if they change for themselves, that means that they're able to change and better the relationship. And I'm not talking about changing who they are. I'm talking about changing the behaviors that are negative. Things that they may have picked up from family members, from their parents, from how they were raised. In my instance, my mom was really abusive to my dad. She would belittle him, call him stupid, and not really respect him, in a sense that I found, so I had to really see that part and learn from it. And I did not do that to Tyler whatsoever. I vowed to myself that I was never going to do that to the person that I loved, because I saw the damage it could do. I didn't want to do that. I knew how it felt. I was called stupid. I was called worthless. I was called those things. I didn't like the way it felt. So I did not do that to Tyler whatsoever. I did everything in my power to break those curses, to break that generational cycle of abuse and disrespect. And on Tyler's side was the cheating, and also the screaming and yelling. My parents got into fights, but never really into screaming matches like yelling. Maybe I would say a handful of times. I could probably count it on one hand, of the number of fights where it escalated that far for my parents. So my dad really did treat my mom with respect. I never really saw my dad do anything negatively. It was just my mom's side, and my mom was through abuse with her parents and then her ex before my dad. So I saw that pattern. My dad, he was abused as well as a child. He was neglected, abused. When my grandmother, which is his adopted mom, had gained custody of him, my dad was extremely malnourished. Like, he had malnutrition because he wasn't being fed properly, and the only thing that he would eat was pancakes. My grandmother, she was left by my biological grandfather, who was a pastor. He used his faith, saying that he was going to be redeemed, and he was one of those that thinks that because God forgives us through Jesus, that we're able to sin. And he got it completely screwed. I don't know the guy. He passed away before I even got to meet him. I just was connecting the dots. So I'm in no way saying anything about his character or anything. He could have redeemed himself, but he left his family with a woman who was not. Would you guys stop barking? Who, sorry about that. The doggos heard something and started to bark. So he left my grandmother, my biological grandmother, with I think she had 8 children. I think she had 9. One passed away at 2. Uh, he choked on something. I want to say with 8 kids, and was not she was not mentally capable of doing that. So he left her with them, and the state eventually came in and took them because the kids were not being taken care of. House is a mess. Kids were thin as rails, from what I heard, and she was never the same after that. You know, I can only see that she went through a lot of abuse herself. So, like, the cycle was endless. It was like over and over and over again. And you, like I say, you have 2 choices in life when it comes to these. You could either let the things that happen to you break you and you repeat the cycle, or you can let the things that happen to you make you and you learn from it. You learn from everybody else's mistakes that made before you. Your grandparents, your parents, your older siblings. You learn from those mistakes and you push through and you let it make you. It make you into a better person because you see the damage that those things do. You see the turmoil that it causes. You feel, you got to experience on how it made you feel. So you broke it. You're done. You weren't going to continue it. You vowed and you changed the behaviors. Those are the 2 choices. It's the same thing where you have 2 siblings that grow up in an alcoholic type of situation. Say that they're with a dad who's alcoholic and abusive, and then you have 2 siblings. One turns out to be an alcoholic and abusive. The other one doesn't. The other one turns out to be normal because they had the 2 choices. One decided to take the easy road, not do the work, and just ended up like his dad. The other one was like, no, I'm going to do the work, which is hard. Putting the work in is extremely difficult. But when you love yourself and you love the people around you, it's worth it. And you're like, I'm not going to do this to anybody. I'm not going to do this to the future love of my life. I'm not going to do this for my future kids. I'm not going to do this to my future grandkids. I'm not going to do this for my future. So you decide to just put an end to it and you put the work in. And when you put the work in, you don't turn out like your parent. You don't turn out like the alcoholic dad that you had. You turn out to be someone who's level-headed, who may have had a hard road, but you still are caring, you're empathic, you're compassionate, understanding and patient and loving, and you understand like how things feel when they don't go the way they're supposed to go, and you try to treat people in a manner where you're not going to let them feel the way that you felt by being treated poorly. You're not going to let them feel the way that you felt when you had an alcoholic dad hit you. You're not going to let these people feel what you felt. And you break that generational curse right there. That's a cycle that you just broke. And going forward, the next generations after you are going to be able to feel and reap those rewards as well. So I'm just standing here, I know, but I wanted to talk and kind of get this through. I gotta go pretty soon. Let's see, how long do I've got? Yeah, it's at almost an hour. So I just wanted to kind of reiterate that because I don't want people thinking that I'm saying stay with an abusive partner. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that if you're with somebody and when you're talking to them, and I'm not saying that you're yelling, like I used to get really emotional. I'm not going to go over an hour, but that's okay. I'm going to tell you a story. So how I used to be, because I wasn't perfect. I had trauma that I had to deal with as well. So when I was with my hubby for the first year, it kind of broke me. I'm not gonna say it didn't. It did. It broke me, and it got to the point where I would react to everything. And by reactive, I mean I would cry, I'd get hysterical, and it was just like I couldn't regulate my emotions properly. I don't know what happened because before and after, like before I got here, I wasn't like that, but apparently I may have been. I was just not um, challenged to face what I had gone through. And that's kind of what I came through is because he challenged me to face my traumas from my childhood, and then I was forcing him to face his traumas. And it could have been through childhood into his adulthood for his exes. Um, so when I would so before I started on this journey, if there was anything that I felt um, if I felt it was like wrong, I wouldn't go to him. I would just shut down because before I would try to talk to him and I would get like yelled at and I would get smacked. And it was just like it was not worth it. And then he stopped doing that, and it still stuck with me. In my head, it still was like connected. So I didn't heal from it. So I would still hide. I would not come up with him, and it would just fester and fester and fester until it happens again. And then at this time, I couldn't contain the emotions, and they would just erupt. And we would be in this fight, and I would be hysterically crying, and I would have so much pain and anger and resentment built up because of all the times that I didn't go to him. So he couldn't fix it because I didn't go to him. And then he didn't understand it was a problem. So now, fast forward after all the healing that we've done, if anything bothers me, I immediately bring it up. I immediately bring it up. We tackle that problem together. We don't butt heads together. We don't fight each other. We take the problem. We put that outside. We both look at it and say, okay, how are we going to fix it? And usually it's just those little thoughts in your head, it's the residual that you're still filtering through. And he's like, oh, it's okay. And we resolve it. It's resolved. No tears, no anger, no resentment, no nothing. It's just, babe, I was sick of this, and I needed to. And we have that conversation. And if it was a hard conversation, we still talk about it. It's just like the healing part. If you have a partner, just like I had to go through, and they're willing to do it, and they're showing you those steps, stick with them. Don't give up on them. Don't give up on them unless, if they're pulling knives on you, pulling weapons on you, that's a completely different story. But if it is like where you have this feeling that this isn't who they are and they're trying, like they stop, say that immediately, you have a discussion with them and you're like, I can't do this anymore. I can't, you smacked me and you yelled at me, and I don't want to be in a relationship where I fear for myself and where I'm gonna be abused. I didn't even think this would be happening to me. And if they self-reflect and they're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing to her? I love her too much to do this, and they make that change. Like you start seeing those changes immediately. Like say that you had a partner who, like if they got angry at you, they'd slap your face and pull your hair, and then you bring it to their attention because maybe they didn't really understand why they were doing it. In my instance, he sometimes didn't really realize it. So it was more of just like anger, and everything that he had held in was exploding, and I was the one who was in the line of fire because I triggered it. He didn't deal with it. I triggered it, and I was in the line of fire. He would go like blackout, like it would be like a demon or something was taking over kind of situation. I don't know if that's the case or not, but It was just that part, and he didn't realize it. So we have conversations, and the more conversations that we have, it's like the more healing we were able to do. And it was like a 180 for both of us, you know. He stopped with the he hadn't hit me for a long time. It's been several years now. And I would say that the course of like yelling at me, that's completely out the window. That hasn't happened for, I would say, almost, I think the last time was back in, oh man, I don't even remember. I think it's been a year. I think it's been a year, a good year. So about the beginning of this whole process of us healing was the last time that he got full on yelled at me. Um, and it's been like when you have someone who's willing to reflect and take accountability for themselves, and you see that they're putting the effort in, um, like hang on with them, especially if you love each other. Like if he is trying, and I'm not talking about band-aids. I'm not talking about saying I'm sorry, slapping a band-aid on it, and then repeating the process. No, I'm talking about you see that he or she, I should say, is putting that effort in. They're working on themselves. You can see that they're making progress. You can see that your communication is starting to get better. You can feel that the love is starting to rebuild. You can see, like, you feel it in your soul that everything is right. Don't give up on people, because people do change. People do change. You know, God says it in Himself that we're not, us singularly are not, we can't judge. Don't judge lest ye be judged. And I tried not to. I didn't want to judge. I didn't want to put judgment on him. I did. I wanted to, like, I knew who he was. I have that feeling. Like, I knew that he was such a good man. And I knew he was so loving and so kind. And there was just something preventing that part of him from coming out. And then the more that we healed and the more that we went on this journey together, it's like the more that you understand that now I know it was because he had a lot of trauma as a child. He had a lot of trauma as a dating teenager into an adult with his exes and how they treated him. And that really put this whole, like, I would say put, like, you know how you put sunglasses on in the dark and you can't see? That type of thing. Where it put this blinder on where he thought that I would do exactly what everybody else would do. I would end up hurting him. I would end up just leaving him. I would end up, you know, whatever he thought. So he was trying to put all this up to protect himself. So it's not an excuse to hurt somebody who did pay the price. He had to really bear with me as I regained to trust him again. It wasn't an overnight thing. I did lose a lot of trust in him. I'm still building that trust back up. So he has to face that consequence. So there's consequences in the way that you treat somebody, sure. But if you have another partner who's willing with a heart to forgive them and show them that, you know, Jesus, the way I look at it is that Jesus forgave me. He forgave me of sins. He forgave me of things that I've done. And if he can forgive me, then I'm capable of forgiving others, no matter what they've done. So they still have to pay the consequences for what they've done. Don't get me wrong. You know, it's like someone who murders another person and they have to go to prison. I don't necessarily think that that killing them is the right thing to do. We don't really have that authority. You know, I can understand if someone is trying to kill you, trying to hurt you, and you're like fighting back to protect yourself. That's a different story. But if you have somebody who commits a crime, and you know, and this is like a double-edged sword, is in a way I do think that they do deserve to have the full punishment. But then another way, it's like if they do see the error of the way, say that they were a teenager on drugs and or a drunk driver. I'm not talking about someone who's like a murderer. I'm talking about someone who kills someone and it's not purposely. So if you have someone who was doing, you know, they were doing drugs and they got in a car and caused an accident, or, you know, something like that. That's it. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about someone who's like a mass murderer. You know, they people who choose to take a life. I'm not gonna say what they chose that life. I'm talking about people who do things that are stupid, and that ends up taking a life. Um, and that part, I don't think that's fair to judge them and say that you need to be killed, uh, because in those instances, that person has a lot of guilt that they have to deal with because of what they did, and we should be helping these people um, reform and get back to God and back to forgiveness because we're able to forgive people. It's hard. I know it's hard, especially for the families of the victim. But if someone were to get in an accident with me, like say I was walking down the street and they were drinking and driving and they hit me and I die, I would want my hubby to understand that forgiveness is key. I wouldn't want him to hold that anger in his heart because that is debilitating in itself. I would want him to forgive them and move on. Forgive them, pray for them, and move on. The people have to live with what they've done, and they have to be able to forgive themselves for what they've done. And there's plenty of things that they could do, but I don't think it's up to us to, in those instances, to point the finger and say you're guilty, you should die because you took a life. In those instances, because people make poor choices, and that's usually something that it is preventable. It is preventable, but only preventable if there's people out there who are helping these people understand that you don't have to be a drunk. You don't have to live off of alcohol to feel better. Yeah, that's just my 2 cents. I want the world to be peaceful. I want the world to be able to live in harmony, take care of each other, not live the way that we live right now. The system is so broken. There's people who can't even afford to eat, and we're blaming them, and it's not their fault. We're blaming the poor for not being able to feed their kids, and we're saying, take the kids away. That is absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. I don't understand the concept. We should be taking care of each other. And the wealth that's in this world, for one, if we have people who have billions of dollars and they're incapable of saying, okay, I'm going to be able to give back to the community, and they're just harvesting all this money for themselves, is another thing. Greed is absolutely horrible in this world. If someone's got an abundance of money, I can understand taking what you need, but seriously, take what you need, give the rest back. It's not that hard of a concept, but anyway, I should probably stop my broadcast, and hopefully this wasn't too bad of a, I know it kind of gone everywhere. I tried to keep it. So this right here goes to Psalms 103:5. I'll read both parts. One is the King James, the other one's the English Standard. So, who satisfieth thy mouth with good things, so that thy youth is renewed like the eagles. And then the English Standard Version, who satisfies you with good, so that your youth is renewed like the eagles. So, in this verse, David is praises the Lord for satisfying the believer with good things, unlike wealth and material possessions. Only the Lord and his blessings constitute something truly valuable. Also, the verse credits the Lord with giving believers the strength and energy of an eagle as a means of renewing their lives. Like, no matter the age of the believer, like he or she will find strength and vitality to carry out the Lord's plan. So that's kind of like what that's talking about. Like, the results of God's perfect forgiveness for a man or a woman is redemption, healing, comfort, provision, satisfaction, and goodness. While sickness and death may affect the body, they do not affect the soul. As a result of being saved, a new life was opened up to us as we're made a new creation in Christ. Day by day, our newly born again lives are being transformed into his image and likeness as we walk in the spirit and truth and abide in Christ. Our inner man is growing in grace and in knowledge of our Lord and Savior. Eventually, we will be able to change our natural bodies into a glorious and eternal body that resembles is. So, we'll go on with the prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for pardoning me of my sins through faith in Christ, for redeeming me from the pit, and for crowning me with your great compassion and love kindness. Your grace is sufficient for any eventuality that may come up in my life, and I thank you for keeping me in my eternal inheritance in heaven. Amen. So I'll leave it with that. I'll try to do that going forward. So I hope you guys have a great day. And I'll be here again on Wednesday with another stream. I'm not sure what game I'll play, but we'll see. I did Prestige and Faz, so I don't have a lot of gear, so I'm building that back up. So we'll see. I die a lot now. Because I don't play on amateur, I'm still playing on professional with all the tier 1 stuff. So, yeah, if you want to get a good laugh of me screaming and running, and it'd be great to check in. So, have a great day. Great rest of your week if I don't catch you again. Remember, you are wanted, you do matter, and you are loved beyond comprehension. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.